We now come to Copernicus. Of course, we're going to discuss him in the context of atheistastroagnosis. Of course, this is where scientists deny logic and reason when it comes to design in the universe. In other words, they say, yes, there's design, but there's no designer. Imagine that. Well, what was he famous for? Nicolaus Copernicus was a Polish astronomer known as the father of modern astronomy. He was the first modern European scientist to propose that Earth and other planets revolve around the Sun, or the heliocentric theory of the universe. What about his education? Well, between 1491 and about 1494, Copernicus studied liberal arts, including astronomy and astrology, which we'll discuss further shortly, at the University of Krakow. Like many students of his time, however, he left before completing his degree, resuming his studies in Italy at the University of Bologna, where his uncle had obtained a doctorate in canon law in 1473, according to Britannica. In 1501, he stayed briefly in Frauenburg, but soon returned to Italy to continue his studies, this time at the University of Padua, where he pursued medical studies between 1501 and 1503. At this time, medicine was closely aligned with astrology, which again we're going to discuss shortly, as the stars were thought to influence the body's dispositions. Make no mistake about it, the Bible roundly condemns the practice of astrology, as can be seen, for example, at Deuteronomy 18, 9, 12, and 14, as well as at Isaiah 47, 13 through 15. However, let's not be dismissive of the possibility that medicine, heavenly bodies, and human bodies possibly align, especially when it comes to the fairer sex. For example, over the centuries, conflicting ideas, wild speculations, and dueling studies have dominated discussions concerning a possible connection between the cycles of the moon and a female's menstrual period. However, more recently, in 2021, scientists have determined a link between the moon and menstrual cycles, at least on some levels, such as intermittent synchronies. Well, what did the Greek philosopher Aristotle say about all of this? For medicine practice in Aristotle's day, the mystique of the moon and that of female bodies led the philosopher to assert that the menses tend to occur naturally during the waning moon, for this time of the month is colder and more humid because of the wasting and disappearance of the moon. Intriguingly, the word hysteria comes from the ancient Greek word hysterikos, from hystera, meaning womb. Webster's Ninth New Collegiate Dictionary says that these words are related to the notion that hysteric women were suffering from disturbances in the womb. Well, did Copernicus believe in God? Indeed. Copernicus believed that God designed and created the universe. He further believed that God's design was mathematical. Copernicus pointed to symmetry in nature to support this belief. More stamps, incidentally, have been issued honoring Copernicus than for any other mathematician. He had been so rooted in the church that he became a canon, or clergyman, associated with a chapter or staff of a cathedral or collegiate church. So, what are we to conclude? There is absolutely no need for Copernicus to see an astrophysical psychologist. He's ATG free. That is to say, he is not suffering from atheistastroagnosis. Next up, Tycho Brahe.